So, on that note, though, so I was just looking. So we still have quite a few missing projects, and I know that there's some drama. So, on like beyond Ramon's problem here, is there any other like snags or issues? Because I know that there's a few people that still haven't turned their stuff in, and so we really need to get those in because it's gonna pile up. Is there anything else we can discuss or help with?
I'm actually running into problems with my end, and I also want to apologize for missing class 3 days in a row. That was my fault.
Dude, it's okay.
Um,
It just got botched on the schedule. That's all good.
yeah, it's my fault. I put it in my calendar and got
That's all
everything
good.
wrong. So
It's all
anyway,
good.
ignoring that,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm actually having trouble actually just like exporting the file. I don't know what that is about. At this point, I literally like don't know what it is about. At this point, I'm thinking about just like uninstalling WIs and just doing the project over. Or no, actually, well, I have the save of it, so I won't be doing the project over. But just uninstall WIs and then trying it again to see if like it was like file error within the program itself because I literally cannot export this file, and I'm just
So why don't we do this? Do you have a couple minutes after class so we can just kind of walk through the export?
sure, yeah.
Okay. Unless like, does anybody else have any snags with that? Like, do we want to go through that, or should we just like? Because I can go through it if we want to see it as a group, but if we need to, but if it's just a solo thing, I can just do it. All right. So it looks like nobody else is like speaking up on that. So why don't we do this? Let's meet up right after class, and I can walk you through the export on how to create that file one more
hmm
time. So we might actually end up finishing up a little bit early today because we don't have a ton of stuff going on. So we should be able to do that. Cool. All right. So yeah, please. So with that project though, I mean, what the deal is, we want to get those in because we want to do peer reviews, and so part of the effort here is to try and get it so that we can test each other's projects out and hear how each other's work. I mean, it's one thing it's to be working in a vacuum, but we want to be able to um, try each other's projects out and work with sound banks, and it's just getting comfortable with the workflow. And I mean, I've been working with different people on different snags, but a big part of this industry, I would say, in this technology stuff, is that it's a lot of troubleshooting. And I mean, I would say that's the same thing and true in your day to day work in audio production, like music production type stuff, but maybe not quite so much these days. I mean, I remember like like not that many years ago, I was talking. I was teaching AP2 at the time, and somebody was like, they were in one of the studios, and they're like working in the I think it was an H, and they're like, dude, everything is such a pain in the ass here. It's like all I'm doing is troubleshooting all the time, and I'm like, dude, that's what recording arts is like not, is a huge part of troubleshooting. They're like, all I want to do is just sit down and make some freaking music. I have to spend all this time troubleshooting all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, it's a lot of gear and it's a lot of things. Because I think a lot of times people get used to working, say, and we'll just use Ableton as an example, sitting down, cracking up their laptop and cranking on Ableton for a long time. So in that situation, you're working on a constrained small system where it's just like your ecosystem is like this big. But as soon as you start integrating with the outside world, things get a lot more complicated. And when we get to a larger scale setup, when we start talking about things like integrating hardware or integrating like like routing and patch bays and like complex multi-channel signals and bigger interfaces, because also yeah, when you're working on your whatever, I don't have them right here, but your little two-channel interface, or even just on your the computer IO, like using your headphones on the computer, it's like ridiculously simple, right? There's like two things like that are being connected, but as soon as you get to a larger system, it gets very very complicated, and a lot of things can go wrong. You have to have things that talk to each other a lot, and so things can go wrong a lot. And it's one thing also, like for me, when I, even with my own studio, when I had my whole huge analog studio, I mean, I'd sit down and I would troubleshoot this thing a lot, and I would get confused on my own rig, and that's even with my own gear, I would still get like have to like scratch my head a lot of times. But I spent a lot of time doing that, and that's just kind of how it goes. So why I'm talking about this is because I'm going to say that this is going to get even more complicated and more troubleshooty as we go along the way. So your troubleshooting skills are going to be a big part of this as we move into Unity, and then we start trying to get we're trying to get Unity to talk, like, well, in the near future we're trying to get Unity to talk to Wise, because that is probably one of the bigger workflows that we're going to work with, that you will find in the industry. If you want to work with another team that's doing Unity and you want to integrate Wise, you need to be the person that's going to be the consultant on how to do Wise. Because if you want to just like, I don't know, yeah, join with a team, you're gonna be like, hey, like I'm feeling pretty good with Wise. I can do all this cool stuff. Like we should use Wise in this project, and you're gonna have to convince them. They're like, okay, well, I guess we can look at it. We can probably use Wise, but how does it work? Like I don't even really understand how to get it integrated into the program because generally speaking, they're gonna be a Unity developer, Unity artist, Unity game programmer, and they're not going to have any experience with Wise unless they're like a big team that's been doing this for a while. And in which case, they may have somebody who knows like how to integrate this stuff really well, and that's great. But a lot of times, you are gonna be the tech support person that you're responsible for getting all this stuff to work. And when it breaks, you're also responsible for making it back to good, which is tough, stressful, and confusing. So and I realized this that when we're going through this software, this is like starting all over again, right? Like when we're this is like if you were coming in as a freshman in the audio program, it's like basically you're trying to learn Pro Tools from the ground up and like having never seen that before. Because I just dropped you in, I go, here's Wise, and the cool thing about Wise is it expects that you already know all the crazy heavy duty stuff that you're talking about with Pro Tools, sound production, and all that kind of stuff. You're like, yeah, I know what compression is. I know what all this stuff is already. But that's already assumed that you know that. This Wise stuff is on top of all that information, all that knowledge, and that it's confusing. I know Wise can be a challenge, and so because it's something like we've never seen this thing before. And we're just about to dive into Unity, and Unity is doing this again. You're gonna be like, "Oh my God, I just started getting like my feet underneath me with Wise, and now we're learning a completely new, different kind of software." And we're doing that 2 more times this semester as well. We're gonna do it with FMod and Unreal. So it's a lot to throw at you, and we're not going to become experts at this stuff right away. Like this is a 1 semester class, and we're trying to cover a lot of ground. I don't expect you to try to be an expert in all this stuff, but I want you to be familiar with it so that you are confident and comfortable enough that you could go to a team and go, okay, I don't know, like I couldn't just jump into some big game and know how to make this thing happen, but I know the tools and I know where to find the answers and the resources to make this thing work so that I can at least like learn along the way. I mean, we all kind of fake it till you make it, right? Where you basically, you know, they're like, can Wise do this? You're like, totally. I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna go use the bathroom real quick. I can get that. And you're in the bathroom Googling, like, can I do this kind of thing? So and that's fine. That's part of that's part of how it goes. But realistically, I mean, the deal is, you're not. I mean, even with what we've gone through, and I've gone through Wise a number of times now, and I would not call, and I'm Wise certified instructor on it, and I would still consider myself a pretty novice with this piece of software. So, and the same thing is going to happen with Unity. So but also with along those lines is like we're treading into fragile ground with Wise and with Unity. Both of them are updating a lot, and things change quickly. And when you're updating stuff, stuff breaks all the time. So there's going to be a fair amount of troubleshooting stuff that goes along with this. But it's some of the Unity stuff troubleshooting is very difficult because it's done in code. So like basically like what Eric said in the comments there, that it's like code is when it breaks, it's frustrating. I mean, I heard somebody say a while back that like programming is like 90% beating your head against the wall and 10% creativity, and I have to kind of agree. Like even probably pro programmers have like it's just most of your day is stomping out bugs and troubleshooting while you're. I mean, the very few people can just like blast out code all the way through. So it's that's just part of the game. So just I would say embrace the suck, right? So that's like the like, so like it's just that's part of the game. So you like there's no getting around it. You have to enjoy the little the good parts of this, the magical parts when sparks are flying. And I also remember, I know I'm going off on here, but I also remember like when we get interns that would come in our studio a lot of times, like back in the day, we'd always get people that really want to intern, and you're like, cool. Okay, so when you come in, first off, have you done any construction before? And they're like, wait, what? I thought I was interning for an audio job. You're like, yeah, but I would say like as a studio owner, and this is just my experience as a studio owner. As a commercial studio owner, I would say 95% of my day is things like cleaning toilets, doing accounting, doing a lot of construction, cable building, troubleshooting, archiving, backup, phone calls, sales calls, that kind of stuff. With like 5% of my actual job is actually making music. And so everyone's like, wait, that's not what I thought this was. You're like, yeah, because what you see on TV is like the cool little part of it. And then granted, I had engineers that worked for me. So I was the owner and I was also an engineer, but I wasn't the one actually in the seat recording 8 hours a day. So for my engineer employee, that was certainly the case. So he actually would just come in, record, and go home. And so so he got to do all that stuff. But even when we had bands coming in, a lot of that time is like spent doing like setup and tear down and editing and like not really all the like the sparks flying kind of stuff, the magical stuff that we like expect at this job if you're talking about like a music recording studio. But I will say though, in that time when those sparks are flying, in that narrow window when you're sitting there, it's all worth it. Like when the magic is happening and you can see it and you can feel it, it's like it's like a drug, man. It's like that's we live for that stuff. Like that's why we do this work. And so anyway, I'm just gonna say like that's part of this. And we're moving into heavy technology stuff here. Things are gonna break a lot, and you have to do a lot of troubleshooting, and it's just part of the deal. And I know, and I'm here to help you as much as I can. But I will say that it's gonna be rough knuckles, man. That's the way it goes. So that's how this industry works. So in particular, the game stuff right now, like the game industry is like you want to sit there, you're like, oh, I wish all these parts just plugged in, the art, the code, the audio, the design all work together. You're like, yeah, but it's gonna be a lot of tweaking and a lot of. That's why we have beta testers and all that, and play testers and all that sort of stuff. Cool. All right. So what we're gonna do today is go over what we're going to try to do with the Unity side of stuff. So we have two sections that we're going to be doing within this Unity. So we've moved out of the Wwise block and into the Unity block on our kind of schedule, and we're going to blast through this Unity stuff. We could spend an entire year on learning Unity, and it would still be like would probably be okay at it. Our goal is not to be pro Unity developers, although I would love it if you did. Our job here is just to be able to interface and speak the Unity language and understand how Unity works so that we as audio people on a game team can understand how to integrate and how to work with their stuff. So we're going to break this down into two subsections inside of this Unity section. One of them is going to be just Unity, just like getting okay with the fundamentals of Unity. The second part is going to be getting good with the Unity audio. So there, like I said, I think I mentioned this last time, there may be a case where you're going to hop on a Unity project that they're going to be anti-Wwise. They're like, nope, no middleware. Maybe it's a super, super small project and they don't want to deal with any licensing issues or something and you have to work strictly within Unity. And so we want to look at the Unity section there. So that's going to be, section 1 is going to be Unity. Section 2 is going to be audio in Unity. And then we're going to move out of that block and go back into Unity Wwise integration. So for this section right now, for the Unity stuff that we're going to do, just getting our feet underneath us with Unity, we're going to do this really fast. In fact, we're going to blast through this thing. The cool thing is, once you kind of get to understand it with the Unity workflow, it's actually really pretty cool. It's actually not that bad to work with. The troubleshooting stuff, when you break it, that's pretty tough. But for the fundamentals, it's not too bad. So that's what we're going to work on today, is just talk about the Unity fundamentals. I kind of went over just the introduction last time. So did anybody download and install Unity yet? Okay, so Ramon, okay, a couple people. Did you poke around with it, or did you just install it?
I basically just installed it. I got the karting micro game and like kind of like adjusted the speed and like
Oh, cool.
little introductory stuff like that.
Cool. Yeah, like so I took this class over the summer on like teaching Unity, and it was cool. And they're all about that karting game thing. Like this is the best way to do it. But I feel like that karting game is like, I mean, it's cool and it is neat to kind of get it, but I don't feel it gives you a pretty good understanding of like what you're trying to do. It's so Unity's such a big thing. You're like, how do you attack it? Where do you come in and start talking about how to work with it? So what they try to do is give you something fun to play with and experiment with it. But though I think it's a little funky, but I do think it's pretty good. Did anybody else open it up? Oh, yeah, install the Unity Hub. Cool. Nice. Okay. Did anybody else like even get it running? I mean, it sounds like you got the like Eric, you got the hub going, but Colton and Ryan, did you guys get those? Like, did you play it on anything? Or Jordan, you said you did it too?
Yeah, I got it running. I just did like the karting game.
Cool. Nice. Okay.
I didn't poke around a whole lot.
Yeah, I know. It's like you don't even know what to do. And the worst is, like and I've done this on a number of pieces when you're working on a new piece of software, um, when you actually like move your windows or you accidentally change the function of something into some other editor and you don't know how to get back to like the generic thing, like this is it's tough when you don't know where your how your windows work and how the setup works and everything. Like even like in Wise, right? So if you didn't know what you were doing with Wise, there's all those different like your F5, F6, F7 for your different like profile views or whatever. And you're like, oh man, if you accidentally like if you were green in the software and you accidentally hit F6 and you're like, wait, it just pulls up some other window. You're like, how do I get back to where I was without even knowing that you accidentally hit it? That sucks. And so I found when I was working with Unity in the beginning that I was very conscious. I would accidentally close a window, and I'm like, wait, how do I get that? I don't even know what that window's called, so I can't get it back. So that is going to be that. But I'm not going to go through too much of that today, but because that's going to be taken care of with the LinkedIn Learning stuff. So okay, cool. Well, what we're going to do is this during this part. So admittedly, I'm not a huge Unity person. So it's difficult for me to go through and speak about this stuff in depth and coherently, and I'm going to be missing certain sections. So this is the part where we're going to do a little bit of the flipped classroom type thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to leaning on LinkedIn Learning for some of this stuff for this section for from now until next Monday. I want you to go through this program, and essentially in the same way that we did Wise, where we had Wise as using the background. We used all that text as the background while we were still working in class in the foreground. So so basically this is what we're going to do is we're going to be doing the flipped classroom where you're going to be doing the lecture stuff offline, and then we're going to be doing troubleshooting and homework and projects in class as for this and the next section. This is where we're going to be doing a lot of this flip stuff. So what I want to do, let me pull up my let me share my screen here real quick. All right, let's close all this. So here in here's our project stuff. So here's the block one is the Wise. So we're wrapped up on that one right here. So we're moving to block two right here, which is going to be Unity. So here's the Unity website. So the next one is going to be this LinkedIn Learning stuff. So if you've not seen it before, LinkedIn Learning is essentially, it used to be what's called Lynda. It was like lynda.com for quite a few years. And I used to use it quite a bit for all sorts of stuff. So let's go take a look at it. Well, okay. Here's the thing. So there's a LinkedIn Learning Access. So it's normally like $25 a month to do this, but as CU Denver students and faculty, it used to be only faculty got it, and we had to have, and the students didn't get it. But there was a workaround, and the workaround was that the Denver Public Library paid for. You just had to sign up for a Denver Public Library card, and you got full access to it. It's awesome. But now, for some reason that they're required, like there was some beef with it that. Like privacy issues. Basically, Lynda was bought by LinkedIn, and LinkedIn, you had to create like a LinkedIn profile, and the public library was not cool with forcing people to make them do that. So they basically broke their contract or broke their relationship with the two, which is a bummer. But the good news is now we have it through CU Denver. So if you were to do something like just through LinkedIn Learning, if you just Google it. Come on. So if you just do LinkedIn Learning, it'll probably take you to like LinkedIn Learning courses anytime, anywhere. So it's linkedin.com. Let's see if it's going to take me. I'm already logged in, so it didn't work. So I was already logged in on that. So but the thing is, if you just go to LinkedIn Learning and you type in your CU Denver address and password, it does not work. So what you have to do to get to this thing, the way I always find it is I do LinkedIn. Should LinkedIn Learning CU Denver, and if you find the one that says like basically it's the CU one that says basically LinkedIn Learning CU Denver, like whatever, University of Colorado. If you click on that one, it talks about how to get to it. So get to know LinkedIn and blah blah blah. You can also get to this through your portal through like UCD Access. It's in like a sub page. It's kind of a pain in the ass to get there. So I don't. It's like 10 clicks to get in there. I don't do that one. So if you just like search just to get there, like LinkedIn Learning search, this is also the link that I posted right here, LinkedIn Learning Access. So that will take you to this page right here. But in case you're just not on Canvas, so what you're going to do is you're going to go down to here, and for direct access, click here. So I do mine because I'm faculty. So I do for direct access, click here, and it takes me to this and takes this IDP page. I log in. And it takes me to LinkedIn Learning here. So if you've not been on LinkedIn before, or like old Linda, basically it's kind of broken up into like business, creative, technology, and then here's some CU Denver stuff. But like if we go into creative, and let's look at like audio and music. So these are all some subcategories here, like the audio mixing masterclass, they have Audition, Ableton 10, Logic, Pro Tools, Premiere Pro, like everything, like just tons of like producing podcasts, pro audio equipment. All these are, I mean, I would say none of them are really all that bad, but there's some cool stuff in here. So digital audio foundations, I haven't looked at a lot of these. So it's 3 hours just on how digital audio works. And it's just really good stuff. I know you have a lot of like you're already in school for a lot of this stuff, but there's some cool like add-on stuff here. I don't know. Tips and tricks for modern producers. Sounds interesting. Who knows? Not everything is great. I mean, some of them are kind of like corny and a lot of them are dated, but EQs and filters, interesting. 2 hours and 30 minutes on EQs and filters. So some pretty cool stuff. But what I think is also interesting. So I come here a lot. Like so, whatever. I wanted to learn more about Reaper. When I saw Reaper, I'm like, I need to learn Reaper. So I went in here, looked up Reaper. Turns out the Reaper ones aren't so good on this one, but there's like, or whatever. If I'm like, I forgot how Elastic Audio works with Pro Tools. You know, so if you go into, you can go find Elastic Audio on YouTube. You can find a lot of good information on YouTube, but you have to comb through a lot of crap too. And so this one at least is all curated and it's built pretty well. But there's, I mean, all sorts of stuff. So like I do photography type stuff. So like if I go into like whatever, photography. So I love learning about photography. So whatever, learning more about Photoshop techniques, like introduction to photography. Not that one. There was one I did on like lighting and composition. I think it was these ones. It's an older one that I did, but it was really good. Or I've done like a Lightroom, like, so I love Lightroom. That's how I do all my photography touch-up stuff. But this is a great, these are great series right here. But they also have stuff, or like another one is that I also do business stuff on here. So if I'm learning how to do whatever, I want to learn Node.js. I want to learn, I don't know, leadership and marketing. Some of these are like, let's see, what do they have in here? I mean, if you want to learn some of this, wow, you can learn about Zoom. Small business entrepreneurship, let's see what they've got here. SEO foundations, that's good to know. What's SEO? I know what that means. Oh, sorry, Jordan, I didn't see your text or your thing in there. So is the game we're designing for the final project going to be in Unity? And the answer is yes. It could be. You could do it also in Unreal if you want, but we're likely going to be doing it in Unity. I'm gonna show how to do it in Unity, but we could do it in there. Nope. Nope.
Search engine optimization.
Search engine optimization, just like Rashawn said there. So SEO, that's a big deal. So if you're an independent producer and you're creating a website and you want to create a name for yourself and you want to create a web presence, SEO is a big, big, big deal. And so people hire, like my wife hires SEO specialists. She's a graphic designer who does websites, and she hires SEO people. Actually, one of the people that we hire is the SEO person that we hire is from. She's a social media and SEO expert. That she's from our music business program. She graduated a few years ago, and she makes big money by being SEO and social media expert like that for companies. So, but these are all really good. These are all like cool stuff. So anyway, enough of me giving you the sales pitch on this thing. We're going to use this thing for us. So what we're going to look at here is, and I don't know if this is going to work for you. Well, actually, let's do this. What I want you to do is, I want you to get on LinkedIn Learning right now. I want to make sure that you can get to that. Get on there, if you need to create a profile or whatever you need to do, but get on to LinkedIn right now and make sure that it works. So I'll give you like 5-10 minutes here. If you're already on, no worries, just chill out. But make sure that you can get on there and that it's working. Hit me up if you have snags.
Is there like a certain class or something that we're doing?
We're going to get to that in a minute, but just poke around. If you're already getting it, just start looking at something. Just like comb through and see if you can find anything that's of interest to you.
You said the link to LinkedIn Learning is on Canvas?
It's on Canvas, yeah. It's in the block 2 under Unity.
Here, I could drop the link where I just went.
Or you can just Google LinkedIn Learning CU Denver, and it'll take you right there as well. Like they even do cool little documentaries and stuff on there. I remember watching a few years ago, like they did a whole documentary on, like, where's the music stuff? They did one on like Mark Mothersbaugh from Devo, and I thought it was a really fascinating one. So under creative, but this is a great one. So if you want to get into something like maybe as we get into this game stuff, you're like, man, I would love to be able to do a little character design and some. So basically, I want to learn how to use 3D Studio Max or Maya or something like that. This is a great place to go and learn. It gives you like, within 4 or 5 hours, it gets you up and running in pretty much any kind of software you can think about. Or video, like I've done a bunch on video editing stuff, like Premiere and Adobe, or sorry, not Adobe, what's it called? Resolve, DaVinci Resolve is really good. Yeah, it's like it just teaches you where all the buttons are and how they work and just kind of the overall. If you want to learn After Effects. I think this is also like my first time I wanted to learn like Ableton. I came here and learned like a little bit about Ableton. And if you like, it seems like if you work with Ableton a lot, it seems silly, but when you're coming to Ableton from another program, it can be confusing. All right, is everybody on there? Any snags? Cool. So I'm going to expect that you know how to do that from now on. So like you should be able to get there pretty quite easily. So I'm going to share my screen again. So when we're there, so I'm going to go in. Actually, I'm already on it. So for me, I'll just go to home. Just basic stuff. You can look at stuff that I've been watching in the past. My wife uses it too. So like she's learning like Adobe Animate CC right now. So but the one that we want to look at here. So if we just do something like, let's look up Unity. So there's 68 courses in Unity. And I've gone through quite a few of these things, and there's some good ones and there's some stinkers in here. So the one I've used in the past, it's not terrible. I've like done this one right here, Unity 3D Essential Training. This one was pretty awkward. I didn't really like it. But what you can do is you can actually become a Unity certified. Actually, let me see where that is. Unity, I mean, being certified. There's like, speaking of that, does anybody like did anybody would anybody be interested in doing the? Is anybody gonna get their WISE certification? I don't know if anybody like has any. I don't know if it's worth it or not. Like, but I don't know. It's just be. But if you decide that you want to get, cool. So Malachi, if you decide that you want to go through and you get your one, if anybody wants to do their WISE 101 certification, I will. You can also get your WISE 110 certification for free through me. So it's just one bonus, and that gives you a little bonus because you can only get the WISE 110 from a few different places in the United States. So not that it really means anything. It's like if you think the certification is useful. So I'm gonna look up Unity certification. So you can become a unified certified like things. We have your user certification, associate certification, professional, and expert, and they can become like certified artist or VR developer, or you can be certified programmer. So there's nothing in Unity certification that has to do with audio. So this doesn't really apply to us, but to become like one of these, well, to certified user is not too tricky, I don't think. But if you want to start like becoming like known as this thing, you can work your way up through this sort of thing. So you have to become like either a developer, a programmer, or an artist. So and that artist means visual artist, not audio artist. So if you want to go down this road, that's up to you. It's pretty cool. Like yeah, so it takes 2 to 4 years of Unity work experience. 5. Wow, that's a certified expert. That there's not many people of that. But you can get your certification. So what they've got here is they've got these certification stuff. Let's do like Unity certification. So they've got this Unity prepare for Unity certification. So this is what we're going to look at. We're not going to go very far down this road, but they've got these like cert prep. And this is what we're going to be using, these cert prep ones right here. So Unity cert prep fundamentals. So on the Block 2 Unity, this is the Unity cert prep fundamentals. I want to ask you if somebody else could click on that link, because I don't know when I made that link, I don't know if it goes to my profile version of it or if it will take you to that one right there. Does that work? Or actually, I'll just copy the link.
Yeah, it works.
Okay, cool. Because it had this like certification U equals that, and I thought that was maybe my user profile or something like that. So I didn't know if that number was actually for just me. So this is what we're going to be doing. This guy Alan Thorne, and so I was coming through over the summer, looking at different ways how to teach Unity, and also getting better at Unity myself. And I felt like I could get around Unity all right, but coming up with a clean, concise way of teaching Unity, and this is like teaching Pro Tools. When we're teaching software, even like when we're doing Wise, teaching software, especially something as complicated as Unity, in a live situation like what we're doing right now, for me to sit there and go, okay, I'm going to talk to you about Unity, and I'm going to do all this stuff, and then I'm going to have you pull up Unity. Especially right now, some of you working on laptops, it's hard to have 2 different screens open, like where you're going to have your Zoom open, and you're also going to have Unity open at the same time. That's going to be a challenge. So this is a much better way. This is the way I love learning how to do software, is having a video where you can stop and pause and you can rewind it a little bit, and you have more than one resource for how to attack a new subject. So we're going to use this, the video is kind of the foundation, but then we're also going to be talking about this in class as a group and as me as the instructor. So we're going to get it from a few different angles on this. But I think this is one of those things that like when I go through this, I like to pause, stop, explore, and that's how it's far more effective than me just blasting information at you. So what we're going to do is you're going to go through this cert prep Unity fundamentals. So this thing, it's about a 2 hour and 2 minutes, and that's 2 hours and 2 minutes of video. That's not how long it will take you to get through it. It might take you a little bit longer. Some of the stuff is really fast. So it's broken up into 4 different sections right here. So we've got, well, the introduction, not including the introduction. The introduction is just like every LinkedIn Learning like program always has like this thing right here. So on the main page right here, we have overview, Q&A, transcript. So they've got this thing like here, the exercise files and certificates. So if I hit the exercise files, it's got Unity Prep Fundamentals zip. So it's 400 megs. You want to download that, and that's what you're going to be using as the course materials for this. Also certificates. I've got a LinkedIn Learning certificate. So let's just download it, and I'll show you what it looks like. Save. Let's open this thing up. Look at this. Cert Prep Unity Fundamentals. Course completed July 25th, 2020 in 2 hours, 22 minutes. I got a little certificate of completion. Yay, I'm official. But this is what your assignment is for next Monday, is you are to get your certificate of completion by next Monday. And it's like basically you just have to go through this thing. And when you click on these, like you basically watch it, introducing Unity. Most of this stuff, a lot of like these first ones, you can actually kind of sit back and just watch and blast through this. But there is a quiz at the end of each section. It has 6 questions on this, and you have to succeed with this thing to get your certificate. So you're going to do something on editor interface, level design. This is actually really cool. Project management, and then asset management. These are all just kind of fundamentals, how Unity works. You're not really going to be doing a ton of game building, although this one is pretty neat in here. When you do the level design, you're doing adding and removing game objects. Where's the big one that I wanted to do? Well, they've got the I can't remember what the tool is called again, but it's like you can create objects inside of Unity and make your own levels and stuff. So you're going to be using this. It's pretty straightforward. It's like you should be able to just blast through this. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to finish up a little early today because I want you to get started in on this and get through a little bit of this during class time as a substitute for what I'm doing here. But let's see, it's Q&A. So this is interesting. So this was 2 months ago. The latest Unity install is much different procedure. Is any chance we update the installing the Unity section? That is true. So this was done with Unity 2018, I think is what it was, and we're on Unity 2020 at this point. So it is different. It looks quite a bit different. Like the install procedures. Well, I think you can figure out how to do the installation. You've done it with Wise. It's basically Unity Hub. I mean, well, I'll just walk through it just since we're here. You install Unity, the Unity Hub, and once the Unity Hub is running, kind of like Wise, at the bottom left over here it says installs, and you can hit add. So, and you can add. So these are the kind of the latest official releases right here. But you can install, like, I wouldn't do pre-releases, just do the official releases. And let's just, I'm not going to go through and install, but say I want to do 2019.4.11. I'll hit next. And if you've not installed it, you will need to do Microsoft Visual Studio Community 2019. So you'd click that. And I would do Mac, WebGL, and Windows Build. Those are the 3 that you would probably want to do. You can do other stuff for like iOS and I don't know if you want to do Android and that stuff. I've not done for mobile release or any of that stuff, so I don't know, or some of the Chinese stuff here. But and include documentation. Say next. I'm not going to go through this whole thing because it's going to make me reinstall all this stuff, and I don't really care about it. But once it's installed, then you have your installs here just like you would with Wise. So Wise has its own versions, like all the different versions of it. So basically we have it in here, and at the bottom here, you can see these are the supports that that is being built for. So if I click on, if I want to say, I can't double click on it to open it, but it shows that I have WebGL, Mac, and Windows on there. So if I go to projects, if I want to create a new project, I'll just call this one test project. And if you look right here, I save mine like my location. So I have on my computer right here, I have a separate drive called storage. So I have my C drive, which is storage, or C drive, which is my main like system drive. Then I have storage, and then I have a games drive, and then I have this is my external drive right here, my video drive that I store all my videos on. So so if I go to my storage one right here, you can see I have a folder that I called Unity projects, and so here's all of my Unity project that I have right here, and like the audio session 1. Let's just see how big these files are. So 60 megs for a basic, for a basic nothing there's not much in it for Unity. Like it's pretty small. But when you start adding stuff in here, like this one right here, this is 6.3 gigs. This one's a big one. So it's I'm going through this other tutorial series on some audio stuff, and that one's pretty huge. We might be going into that one. So just as a heads up, some of these project files can get pretty stinking big. So you might want to keep your Unity projects on a separate drive than your main drive. And if you're especially on a laptop with limited storage, you may want to run those off. You can run them off of external drives, like a fast drive would be sweet, but like a USB thumb drive is going to be pretty stinking slow. But if you're using something like a external, either spin drive or SSD, you'll be okay. But just thumb drives don't work very well for this sort of stuff. So I create. And I feel like my computer's been running a little bit slower. Something I got bunged up the other day. For any of you DJs out there, so the reason why I'm concerned, I think I'd installed that stupid Pioneer. So for that party we had last weekend, we had set up some DJs outside, and we had the CDJ rigs, and the guy shows up and his thumb drive wasn't working in the CDJs because they're formatted exFAT, and apparently you can only do it FAT32 or HFS plus. So we had to redo that thing. What's that Pioneer software that's basically
Rekordbox.
Yes, that software sucks.
Yes.
I had to sign my life away, and I'd install all this stuff, and oh my god, could they make it any more complicated? And that software blows. So okay, so then we're in, and we have our basic Unity project here, starting from scratch, and we're off to the races right here. So what I want you to do is I want you to spend the next 5 minutes. If you've not downloaded Unity, I want you to try getting Unity installed and get to this screen right here. So let's get. That's where we're going to stop. But I want to make sure everybody can at least get to this point, because this is critical that we are able to do that. So I'm going to stop my share here and let everybody do that. Nice. External SSD. Wow, that's good.
Yeah. And it even has like built-in
Like encryption and
like
stuff.
encryption software. Yeah.
Nice. I usually do mine as exFAT. I wipe mine though, because none of that stuff works on Mac, and I usually go between two different machines. So if you need encryption though, I do use like encrypted Windows drives. You can do that BitLocker, which is part of Windows, so you don't need to use external like third-party stuff. Cool. So that sounds like Malachi's got there. So if you're already ahead of the game and you've already had it running, create a project and just like poke around for a little bit.
We're doing 3D.
Yeah. That's pretty much what you, unless otherwise, that's the one you always choose. If you're already in and you're just sitting around waiting, see if you can create a cube or a sphere in your scene. Just try and figure it out. I'm not going to, I'll show you later, but just see if you can figure it out. Start poking around in menus and tabs and that sort of stuff. I don't remember what the size of Unity is, but it's not small. So if you saw that I had 3 different installs of Unity running at that point. Unity is a pretty stinking big project, and it will eat up, if you have a lot of different installs of it, it'll eat up your hard drive space pretty quick. So I try to keep it down. I try to keep it minimal, But some of the tutorials, when they write these tutorials, they're specifically for a certain version of Unity, so you have to install like an old version of Unity to get it to run. We call that like the Unity editor.
Hey Jeff, so mine is saying that there's a new version of Unity Editor available. Should I download that?
I would. I would use using 2020. Which one? Which one do you? What do you use it like? What do you have installed right now?
I guess it's 2019,
Yeah,
2019.4.
and yeah, I would say 2020 just because that's probably from here out. When you're working on a team in real life, what ends up happening is you start developing on a platform, one of the LTS long term support platforms, and you don't stray from that. Even though if you're on a 1 year build or 2 year build cycle for this, you may still building in 2018 or 2019 because the thing is, all the different dependencies are they're um, deployment specific. So you can't change. It's not like you can't. Well, we can if you were to change from whatever Pro Tools in like a subversion, like an updated version of it comes out in the middle of your mixing project. You could update it and you'd probably be okay. But when you're building a game, you don't want to change you don't want to change. So you basically stick with one thing for a very, very long time.
Actually, it looks like it is the 2020, but it says 2019 in the title. But I guess one just came out today.
Probably could be. Yeah. And truth is, I mean, all I want you to do is be on at least on a 2020 version of it, like at least the 2020. Dang it, whoops. Yeah, so I'm on 2020.1.6 F1. I don't know what the F1 means. But what you will see, and the reason I'm bringing this up, and because, well, I guess I'll stop for a second. Is there any snags? How are we doing? Do we have it installed or
Install's almost complete.
okay? I'll stop for another second.
It's like 1 centimeter away.
I made a cube. I'm basically a pro now.
Yes. Go make some money. How are we doing? Does people need more time? Anybody else need more time?
I'm just kind of confused with this update. Is there a way to do it um, from like
Here.
inside Unity somehow, or like from the installer?
So, so when you open up Unity, it said there was a new one available.
Yeah, because I
Yeah,
think
I
one
mean,
just released today.
yeah.
I
So what I
guess.
usually do is I just say, skip. I don't do it from the game, like from the editor itself. I usually do it from the Unity Hub if I'm going to update something. So so you have your project under installs here. I would just say add, and then like it'll show you the newest version right here. And that's when I just say like choose the one. So right now
Oh,
I have Unity 2020.1.6
yeah,
as
this
like
is
my
actually showing newer ones than there was on the website, so this is better. Cool.
yeah. Yeah. So this is where you'll get the next one, and it updates a lot. So right now, like I'm on 2020.1.6 F1, and so what it does is like when you open up a new game, it'll say, hey, there's a newer one available. So the way they work is so like 2020.1, this is the well, this is the major release, this is the major release, and this is the minor release. So a 2020.1.6 will also work with a 21.1.4, point 5, point 6, and probably point 7, point 8, point 9, and so on. But it's when it goes to 2020 point like 2, when that comes out, 2020.2 may not work with 2020.1 editor. Like if you create a game, if you create a file, a build in 2020.2, it will not likely open up in 2020.1. So if you open up an older session, if you open up an older, I'll call them sessions, but if we call them open an older file, it'll update it and it'll try to update all the stuff. But that's usually when things break. But you can't go backwards, so you can only go forwards. And when you go forwards, it updates it, and then you can't go backwards again. So it's kind of annoying. But so like right here, so in this case, I have an 18 and 19 and a 20, but 2019.4, and there's also 2019.2. So those two are two different versions of it. But the 10, this minor version right here that one doesn't matter quite as much for most of us. But I will say, and so the reason I'm talking about this is because when we're in here with test projects, so I'm going to go over just a couple things that are going to be a little bit different than what's in the videos. So I don't remember everything that's in the videos, but things with the package manager. So what they do is they show in, oh, actually I'm going to get rid of it. Let me just close this window. Let's leave it here. Close tab. Okay. So the way that Unity used to work is that you had assets, the asset store right here, and this is essentially a web browser. And this web browser was a way you could get assets from the store. But nowadays it doesn't really work like that. The way it works, so that they show it in the video as it being done here. But if this is a 2020 thing, so 2019 it does work with the thing. So if you're working on a 2019 version of it, the asset store works right here. If you're on 2020, it does not work here. And so it says search online, and it'll open up. If I click on that, it just opens up a browser, and we do it from the Unity side here. So if you've not done it, you should create like I don't know why my thing's not logged in. There it is. I'm logged in right now. So if you're not logged into Unity, you'll need to be logged into Unity over here. And then you can start logging. So you can look at stuff like my assets. So if I want to look at all the stuff that I own, so I have paid and free stuff in here. So these are all the things I've downloaded so far from Unity, from the Unity web store. So this is kind of like your what all the stuff you own. So when you own something, so if I download it or if I add it to my cart, I add it in here, this is where it shows up inside here. You can say open in Unity, but I usually don't do that. From here, if I want to add that asset into my project, what I do is I go through, instead of Asset Store, under this I go to Windows, Package Manager, and the Package Manager here shows the stuff, like, and it shows packages in projects. So this is all the stuff that's being used in the project right now. Then I can look at Unity Registry. This is the stuff from the Unity store. There's still more there. Like, I don't know, I don't quite understand what this one is. But then I could say what I have, my assets. So this my assets right here, it correlates to what we saw in the other one. So these ones are in alphabetical order. And so I have 25 and 41 packages shown right here. So I say load next 16. And I can see all the packages that I have loaded for here. So if I want to import something that I used in the asset store right here, so like 3D Game Kit. Actually, let's do something that's not so big. Outdoor ground textures. So outdoor ground textures, if I go over in here, I should see outdoor ground textures. So if I click on it right here, I actually own it, but it's not downloaded. It's not downloaded. So what I would have to do is it was released September 21st, 2020. Oh, that's when I bought it. It was released, wow, this is old. So it was released in 2013. So I would say download. So it's going to download it now. Now what that does is it actually downloads it to another place on my hard drive. And I don't exactly remember where it is, but it's kind of like your, if you think about it, like your Splice downloads or your packs for Ableton or It's basically it's like factory packs, but so it stores them in another place on your hard drive so that you can use them between other projects. So when I'm saying I'm downloading this right now, it's not downloading into this project. It's downloading it to somewhere else on my hard drive, and you can define where that is. So now when I have that, it says it's downloaded. I can import this thing. So all these ones that are say they need to be downloaded, so I import and cool import. And so these are all the things I can choose which ones I want to import or not. I'm just gonna say import everything right now. And sometimes this takes a while. If you're working with this like this 3D game kit, it took me like 30 minutes to import stuff. It takes a long time. Some stuff takes forever, some stuff does not. This one's taking a while. Okay, there we go. So now so what I like to do for me with my package manager right here, I actually like to to put that inside of my where the asset store, because this asset store doesn't do shit for you. So this package manager is kind of where everything is taken care of. This is different what they show in the video, but so this is why I'm going over this stuff. So you've got this business here. And so I like to keep my package manager just up in the top right there. That's just how I roll. But you could also put it over here in the inspector if you or like next to, if you wanted to throw it over here, this would be not a bad place for it either. But I kind of like it over here next to that. It just kind of makes sense for me. Cool. And so if I go to my scene, let's just add a 3D object. I'm going to add a plane. Good enough. And under my project, textures, let's do ground 4. Cool. So now I just added whatever, some sort of grassy kind of looking stuff. I don't know what that was, but yeah, so I just added some ground texture to that. So it's I won't say it's just as easy as that, but it is kind of easy. There's a few other things that they show you like where stuff is located. Some of the menu stuff has moved around. So things like I think it's like whatever. The sound thing is over here instead of like somewhere over here where it used to be. And one of the other ones is like what is it? It's the builder thing. I can't remember what it's called. Let's see. What do we have? No, it's the God, what was that called? I can't remember what they called it in the video. It's been a while since I watched that video, but it's like let me see if I can find it again. It's something builder. I can't remember, but anyway, it's a little bit different than what they show you in the video. Like, you have to jump through it. Basically, you have to download it and install it through the package manager over here. And God, what was that called? Let's just search. No, what do they call that thing? I can't remember.
In this movie,
So it goes pretty quick. Each video is like, between about 5 minutes long. So you can kind of blast through these things pretty quick. So it's like you can get through these things quite fast. But like, don't just simply watch them. Follow along and do actually do what he's doing. It makes a lot of difference. It slows you down, but it makes it so much more real when you can kind of get more comfortable at adding stuff. God, dude, I gotta find this thing. It was like I should have looked this up again. 3D modular kit. Man. I can't find it. That's killing me. Let me look one more time in my... Where was that called? Man, I don't know what it's that tool. Basically, it's a tool for creating objects. and I can't remember what the tool is called. It's like something like Game Builder or something, or like some sort of thing. So you can start creating your own shapes and ramps and all that kind of stuff. And I can't remember what the tool is called off the top of my head. But the way you use it is a little bit different than what they show in the video. So, but it's good to know how that works. It just kind of from a fundamental level. So that's really what what I want you to do is for the next 10 minutes is we'll sign off here. I want you to get in. I want you to get through like at least like, let's see, how long do those videos take? Like, let's see if we can get through. Yeah, you should be able to get through the first. So you don't need to watch the prepare for Unity certification. You do have to watch these things to get like certified for it. So you just let them run in the background, but it's good to watch them, I guess. But introduction to Unity and installing Unity and that kind of stuff. Those first ones, that's like 8 minutes of like nothingness that you don't really care about, but because you've already installed Unity and they kind of walk you through it, and it's a little bit different than what we've done, but at least it'll get you going there. So. Let's do this. Yeah. So let's sign off now at 10:35. So for the next 10 minutes, I want you to at least just get going on this LinkedIn Learning thing. Oh, I guess I will show one thing real quick. So on the modules here, so we on our project that we have due. So it's under assignments. Just click on look at this. Cert Prep Unity Fundamentals Certificate of Completion. So it just says right here, here's the link again. What I want you to do is go through, just basically do the entire certification thing, and as a submission, you're going to upload your PDF of the certificate of completion. To find that certificate of completion, when you complete it, it'll show up right here under like just the overview, like related to the course. You'll see your certificate right here. Also, when you finish it, it'll show it to you. But to get to it, you just say see all, and then it'll say I want to download this thing. So download that, and that's what you're going to be submitting for this thing that's due on Monday before class. So what we're doing is we're going to start in on audio for Unity next week, and we're going to spend a week on that. But right now for this one is just a basic. Get in there, take you a couple hours, and you should be off the races. But I encourage you to go further than that and just try and experiment with that a little bit more. So any questions on that? All right. Well, my friends, get cracking on that. Have a killer weekend, and hit me up if you have any snags. And yeah, I'll catch up with y'all on Monday. And I'll stick around for a couple minutes. So Malachi, it sounds like we need to talk real quick. But if there's anybody else that have any questions, I will go ahead and. Oh wait, actually, don't sign off yet. I need to do my attendance. I forgot to do that. Got it. Cool. All right. So if anybody needs to roll out, I will be around. I'm around this weekend, so hit me up if you run any snags. Cheers.
Cool. I'll talk to you later then.